just getting started.
Yeah, I know, right? And that's just getting started. And then there's going to be floating platforms, the islands, and New Atlantean islands, and then I believe
The
that
turtle behind us.
the turtle, yeah, turtle's been popping up lately a
Turtle
lot.
Island. Actually the name for
Oh,
America from the indigenous people. So that's why we put this here.
hmm yeah.
And, we're looking to make it out of things like these. So for my story, and thank you, love,
Yes.
for sharing that, because I know some of that was very traumatic, and it is a lot of personal stuff to share with people.
Yeah, and with time, and it's not as traumatic anymore. It's just that something lingered, but it's not as traumatic. I apologize for my phone, but what is your story, Jedi?
Okay. I'm weird. I'm weird. I'm weird.
Divinely weird.
Okay. My mother's Presbyterian. My father is Native American, and he studied a lot of the world religions when he was younger. So he taught me how to meditate when I was only like 5 years old as a little kid. You had to sit perfectly still and not move. You weren't allowed to even like touch and scratch your nose when it would start to itch, which was pretty good, discipline.
Mhm.
And from that young age, I was working on conquering all my fears. I'm biologically, we only have two fears:
Mhm.
loud noises and falling. Because usually you hear a loud noise, lion's gonna eat you, trees falling, something crazy is going on.
Something crashing on top of you.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so a lot of times we lived in caves. So the loud
Yeah.
noises was, danger.
Yeah. Mhm.
Um, so I did that. I grew up in relative abundance, even though we were dirt poor. I didn't know it. We always had food. I got to travel the hill mountain where we grew up overlooking a lake,
Mhm.
would pick berries and, being one of those kids that grew up in the 80s, we were allowed to roam free, do what we wanted. And you just had to wait for the dinner bell to ring in the evening or the street lights
Yeah.
as we got a little bit older to come on, as they finally added those in the area.
Mhm.
Uh, so I had a fun younger childhood, never really liked school. Had a girl I had a crush on in high school, and
Why didn't you like school, honey?
it was boring.
Okay.
I Most of them, it's like I was dyslexic, um, had a bad lisp, and I still have to focus to make sure I'm articulating my words properly. Like if I've actually got a few drinks in me, I'll slur my words a little more
Yeah.
as the tongue relaxes.
I don't even know why I
So
love
I
that.
got
It's
picked
so
on
adorable.
I got picked on and bullied as a kid because of that, because you're weird, you can't talk right.
I
Uh,
think you were very eloquent. Mm.
Graduated from speech therapy at 8 years old after second grade. A couple weeks later, I'm at my grandparents, and we had
Mhm.
gymnastics at our school. I thought we were just some weird farm town, but it was actually one of the high-end public schools with the oil well community and stuff
Mhm.
there. So there was a lot of money uh, in the area to fund the school.
Mhm.
So we had things like gymnastics as just part of gym class and
Wow,
schooling.
that's awesome.
Um, and I was on a set of monkey bars. I did a backwards handspring. I missed the bar and bit off my tongue as I
Oh,
fell through.
God.
Bleeding, they had to sew it back on. So at
Mm.
8 years old, I had an involuntary vow of silence for a few
Wow.
months where all I could do was eat jello and ice cream until the stitches dissolved.
Yeah.
And then, going back to school the next year, I had to go through speech therapy all over again. Uh,
Hey, but now, I mean, I can see the results,
mhm.
definitely.
Well, and I lucked out.
Yeah.
Also had when we were second year doing the speech therapy, teacher found out I was dyslexic, and they did some experimental stuff where they put me in a speed reading class
Mhm.
so I could read faster than the letters and words would transpose
Yeah,
on
she
me.
reads very fast.
During that summer with my grandparents, they aren't the real intellectual style. They were, basic farm people. And the only book, back then you didn't have the satellite TV and stuff like you do now. So they only had like two news channels that could come in through the airwaves. And the only books they had in the house were the King James Bible and the obligatory Encyclopedia Britannica. So as I'm there with my grandparents in West Virginia, I read the Bible cover to cover and the encyclopedia from A to Z. So when I went back to school that next year, I found I knew more than most of my teachers, and I'm only 8 years old still.
Okay, I understand that. Yeah, I know you told me that story, but I just wanted for the public to know as well why school was not good because it was boring to you.
It was very boring. Like,
yeah.
I would go through all the way through high school. I would read every textbook every year within the first week of class and would just basically ignore the teachers and read and learn what I wanted. And they could call it on me whenever they wanted. And, I usually knew the answer. And I lucked out, had a couple good teachers like Mr. Van Kirk, who was our mathematics teacher for calculus and things like that, that would make it more fun, make it more challenging.
You even had calculus in your school.
Yeah.
Fascinating.
Yeah. And everybody who passed his calculus class, and it was such a higher level that they were able to skip over Calculus 1 in college at, Harvard, wherever, and go right into Calc 2 or Calc 3.
Wow.
Because he taught at such a high level beyond what other schools did in the area, which was really cool. Blessings I didn't know about till later.
Yeah.
But I had a girl I was really attracted to, and, I was socially awkward, and, I was weird, so, I apparently gave off the creepy vibes, scared her away, and I got very depressed and suicidal. And then one of the native elders, like, okay, if you're going to think about throwing your life away, we're going to throw your life towards God.
Exactly, right?
So they decided to put me through some old school ritual torture, a traditional Native American vision quest.
Yeah.
So first, you go down to just water for a week. So no food for a week. Then they threw me in a sweat lodge. Which is a very hot steam room. We were in there for 2.5, 3 hours, dehydrating you because you weren't allowed to drink anymore at that point.
Yikes. Makes me want to drink now.
And then they throw you in a lake or river. In my case, it was a lake. And then you are cleansed, and now you are ready for the real ritual torture of the vision quest.
So just the beginning.
Yeah, I had my prayer pipe that I had made, and they had blown smoke into to make it live from the pipestone in the traditional ways. Went into the woods, took a stick, drew a circle around me. The rule was you don't leave the circle till you have the vision, and that will protect you from demons and whatever else you might end up running into. And I spend the next 4 days, no food, no water, praying for a vision.
4 days.
No food, no water. And this is after 7 days of no food.
I mean, no food is okay, but no water. I mean, I have to drink water every hour. However, yeah.
Okay, so I'm getting to sunset on the 4th day. And I think I'm about to die. And it's like, Creator, I've given my everything. This is it. I take what I think is my last breath, looking at the sun, and then I just have the vision washed over me. I get to see how everything is intimately connected. I get to see where humanity is going into the distant future, and I have spent the last quarter of a century reverse engineering what I saw that day. Yeah. I am still getting more and more understanding of what I saw in that vision after many, many thousands of book read, talking to professors from coast to coast, and just studying everything imaginable. Yeah.
Yeah, you read constantly, all the time.
She's like, stop reading.
Yeah, I was like,
Spend time with me.
I am. Yeah, but I understand why you do that, so I give you time. And then,
Um, yeah, Warren Buffett reads an average of 500 to 600 pages a day. I'm probably in that same general range, reading the equivalent of a couple books a day. And I have for 25 years now.
yeah, never ending, never ending.
So yet again, once you learn the past is eternal, the work becomes the worship.
The worship, yes.
So that was my vision quest. I learned years later that the way it actually works biologically is at the point of death, your body, in a last-ditch effort to save you and preserve you, releases all the DMT in the body, which causes you to hallucinate. And understanding how the pineal gland and the tuning, it lets you tap into other realms. It's the actual proper way to open up, where when you're looking at things like mushrooms and ayahuasca and other psychedelics, those are like being in a house in the woods, being in your house, look out your itty bitty keyhole and think you've seen the whole woods and you haven't even stepped outside yet.
Yeah.
So it was definitely much more vast. I had tried mushrooms years later a few times, and unfortunately, or fortunately, because of that experience, they have zero effect on me, even taking up to a quarter ounce at a time.
Yeah, because you already had that vision.
Yeah, I've already unlocked those neural pathways. There's no new neural pathways for the mushrooms to create. So graduated high school, went to South Dakota, taught the WASP program, Wilderness Adventure Survival Program, teaching people about wilderness survival and Indian lore.
Yeah.
Came back to Ohio, and then I moved to Colorado. I got smashed by a semi, blew this shoulder down. And at that time, I was bodybuilding, getting ready. I wanted to be Mr. Universe before I was 30, and I got smashed down. The God just smacked me down for being too arrogant. Needed a little humbling, as it were. So I went to Colorado on a healing journey. I met a really cool osteopath named Heidi Rose, or Dr. Heidi Rose, who had actually worked on presidents, had kept Manly P. Hall alive for an extra decade. And she had one of the most amazing occult and esoteric libraries I've ever seen. Her entire attic was just a full library.
Fascinating.
So I would disappear for days up there, would have like one main book I'm reading, and then I've got like 8 or 9 other books open.
Cross-referencing.
Yeah, because like I'm reading this book, and like, okay, I don't understand this, so I'd look at the dictionary, read the word. Oh, I don't understand this, is referencing this other book, so I'd have to go read an entire book.
Oh my God.
Just to go like 2 paragraphs in this other book, and then go read another book for something else. And oh God, like some of those Manly Hall books, I had to read 20, 30 books just to understand the one book I was trying to read. That's what real research is, kids. not this little, you put it in Grok or ChatGPT and it gives you the answer. No, that's not real research. You got to get offline. So I had that semi. I had, learned how to do omnilateral physiotherapy from HR, added my own things to it with the massage therapy I'd learned in school. And, got to the point where I could heal and use my arm, regain the strength. I have worked on well over 20,000 bodies on massage tables to transform their lives.
Yeah. I'm included.
Yeah, she gets spoiled. Induced labor 5 times. Every woman you manually did that to was at the hospital in labor within 4 to 5 hours. And one of them, when I was there at Sundance, they actually had the kid within the 4 hours, which is pretty cool that you can biologically, just through manual working on different trigger points and things.
So you'll become very handy when we become pregnant. Because I don't want to be suffering. Let's go. Come on.
Yeah, you can do massage to, reduce the need for epidurals, things like that.
Oh yeah, no, we don't do that.
So, I kept continuing on my learning, kept growing after that wreck, started to get back in shape, came back to Ohio in 2012, gradually, the food here is not the same as it used to
Oh my
be.
God.
Developed different
And
allergies.
still is. Oh God, this food does not taste like food because when you go abroad and you really taste food, it's food. Here, it's not.
Yeah,
I don't know what it is.
it's chemicals, poison, oil, and everything else.
All I know what it is just it's so frustrating.
So
Even organic went downhill.
So we sold our home last year.
Yeah.
And during the transition, we're at hotels and eating lower quality hotel food because, we didn't, because before that, we're trying to eat all healthy,
Homemade meals.
organic, all the, meals, get food poisoning, during the transition, get an ulcerative colitis flare, bleed out, basically almost died or probably did die a couple of times and come back. Scared the hell out of her. And we eventually got, we didn't make it to the ocean in time because like I was there writhing in pain trying to navigate while she was steering the boat on the inside.
Yep, during the storms.
Yeah.
Yep.
There was
We
one.
did it, honey.
We did. We didn't quite make it through the. So after this experience of nearly dying for the umpteenth time, creator was talking to me. It's like, okay, your book's not enough. You really have to teach and share your knowledge if you're going to and build your community. The community is the big one. And that's why we're here with the New Atlantean Society. Not for any cult or anything like that. Not that I'm, some above you. We are all divine. We're all the same level. Not, everything's energy.
We're all one. We're all part of God. Everything. So everyone.
That's my Pathon journey. I've gone from 360 pounds down to around 270, 275 right now. So I have about another 40 pounds to go to where I'm back down to the 230 and can look like Arnold again.
Yeah. Look at his full muscles.
I know she's excited for it.
It's exciting. The boat will help. So
yeah.
Hiking is not enough.
We got like another week and a half till we're back on the boat. To be on the sea.
Fresh air.
The sea, she calls to me. And, get you there. So make sure, in the comments, tell us a little bit about your personal life journey. Yeah, like we're here to help you. We're here to serve you. Let us know where you're stuck, where you're confused, what other content you need us to make to help you along the path. Like I've got whole boxes of notebooks and things I'm going to be sharing and teaching over the next months and years.
Yes.
That, I've got one box of spiritual stuff that's, me condensing over 5,000 books for, the most important things and that in the universe, to understand, the fundamentals of how the universe and life works. We've shared stuff on how to reprogram your mind, process emotions.
There's so much more.
Yeah, it's an eternal path. So please join us and make sure you put comments below. We look forward to hearing from you.
Peace and love to you. Bye.